Hi guys, okay, so we've made our walls, we've done the windows, and now it's time to start actually assembling the model. And we're going to talk a little bit about the grey cards. These are the strengtheners and the floors and everything else. This is what gives the model its inherent strength. We'll just quickly cut out the relevant strengtheners that we need at the moment. Alright, then it's a case of figuring out which way around these go. Alright. When I was fitting the door, if you remember, I was saying that often you need to leave that gap at the beginning, because if you don't leave that gap at the beginning, the floor's not going to fit flush with the bottle. So that goes that way. Strengthener 2 fits in there. That'll fold up. Okay. Glue. Just gonna pop the glue where we need to. In just to make sure that everything's lining up. It's a bit tickety smooth. Look at that. Isn't that nice? I think that's nice. You can either sit here for a while and hold it, or you can use your 3-2-1 blocks. There's a bit of a weight. Do that. If you're worried about gluing it to the surface, what I would suggest is just a piece of everyday baking paper, because the glue peels off baking paper really easily. Alright, so I'm going to let that dry and then we'll come back. So while that's off drying, I'll just cut out the other supports we're going to need for this section. Okay, that's been a little while. It looks like we're alright with the glue. It's dry enough to just do another little bit. We're going to put the other two strengtheners in. So this will slot in there and provide a bit of strength for the join. And when we glue this in, we just need to make sure that these match up as best as we possibly can. You'll find that there's a bevel edge and a flat edge. See the bevel on the edges there. It's always better if you can glue the flat edge to the flat surface. You'll just seem to get a better adhesion. Again, a little bit of glue goes a long way. And if you're putting a stiffener in your own windows and that, you just have to be careful that you don't get it on too much. Now I'm going to pop a good amount on the floor where this leaves. So we slid him down. And we bring him up with him firmly in place. Let's see if we can get a pick or two on. Alright. We'll let him dry for a while. Right, what's next? The inner floor. That fits down on top of all that. Okay. Obviously, if you're going to put any detail in here that you could see through the windows, you'd have to have that in before you put the floor in. Kind of common sense. Now let's just do a test dry fit. This is going to be fun. So that fits on top of there. And then down on top of that. Two ways. You can put the glue on those supports that we've put in before and then pop your floor on, or you can pop your floor in and then run a fillet of glue on either side, or you can do both. Right. bit of glue just gives it extra strength. See a bit of glue in there? And we'll let that go off again. All about the chimneys. These are our two chimney supports here. I like the way Metcalfe do their chimneys because they just create a solid block out of the cardboard and then generally wrap something around it to make it look like a chimney, but it ends up quite a solid chimney. Now these you don't need to separate because they're just going to fold onto their back like that. Hope you're not finding this too boring. I know some people do, but sometimes you just pick up that odd little bit. Okay, now this already has the chimney support in it, so these literally just sit behind it and line up. So we'll pop a little bit of glue on there, line him up, give him a squeeze, making sure that your edges line up, because if your edges don't, then you're not going to wrap anything around it neatly. And we'll let that go off. Okay, because of how this fits on the model, done the edges in the black. Now it's just a case of wrapping it around and gluing it on. How do we wrap it around and get it right? Right, well, we put some glue on there. These little side flaps here. At this stage we haven't glued, but now we can. A little bit of glue on the side. So basically what we did was we lined it up at the top, got them down to the edge of the wall, and then smoothed that down. We've glued that, and then starting from the sides, we put it around and around like that. The old peg. While that's soft drying, we're going to continue with what we can on the next section, which is putting the gable inner end onto the gable wall. So as before, lining your window up, same as before, popping him on and making sure everything folds up and your apex is good. And what we're going to look at now is attaching the cable into that. So you can dry fit this and say, yep, that's going to work. What we need to do though is get this stiffener here into there. I'm going to do what the instructions suggest and glue this to here first, making sure that everything is going to line up. What we have to do though is make sure that these edges here will line up down here. Pop our glue on, get rid of our scalpels so we don't stab ourselves. And to give us a little bit of longer work time this time, gives a good amount of glue to go with. Okay. Turn him over, starting at the apex, pop him down as level as we can, and we'll check him with this. Is that going to work for us? Yep. So off camera, I made up the door and the window frames and put that in using the same techniques as we did before. That's now all dry and ready to go on. I find it easier to start with the doors and then wrap them around. Slide it down so your floor fits nice and flush, and then a little bit of force back into there. Make sure it's all as square as you can get it. All fitting flush, then you should be fairly right. Just running a toothpick down to remove any of that really excess glue. Pop a weight on top. We'll let that go off. It starts to show you some of the strength that's inherent in these models. Just letting that run slowly down. You can see the bead of glue that's in there now. Now I'm really going to let that go off before I continue. It's just going to give it that extra strength. So a little bottle is good enough to continue. So what we're going to do before we do the roof and everything else, just go around and touch up the corners and that, which I haven't done. It's covered by a ridge tile, but even so, we'll run the grey texture down the guts. That calf don't seem to do gutters. Some people use straws. The roof is the same principle as the walls. It's nothing different. Again, test fit it. Make sure you're going to be happy with the fit. Test fitting it. You can see there's a bit of grey card from underneath. You're probably not going to see it, and we've got barge boards to go on there anyway. But I'm going to give it a quick colour in and see how it goes in there. A little better? I think that looks better. Alright. Glue time. No. You can't really put the glue on this side. So all that you can do is your apexes. And it's a case of getting this as tight up against that wall and then as central as we can. Making sure that any blobs that stick out, you just scrape away. It's the same process with the other roof. We'll try and test it to make sure that it's going to fit. I am going to put a little smear along there. That little smear, and hopefully just in there. And that is the basis of our cottage.